Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, May 28th, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, minutes and reports received and filed.
We do not have any today.
Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Well, this week, it's like an extra week for the month, so I don't have much at all. Sunday, there's a Renegades Celebrity Slow Pitch softball game. They're gonna be raising money for one of the K-9s on the front line and one of his handlers. So if you wanna come see me get hurt, come on out. We can have an ambulance there, I appreciate that. Whatever you can do to help my hamstrings. So that's about it.
I don't have much either. I have an ARPA meeting tomorrow, a JC rep meeting tomorrow. I think maybe tomorrow night, is that the Renegades' first game tomorrow night?
Yeah, tomorrow is Wednesday.
Lions Club
Wednesday be up
are
home.
going to be there at the front gate, and that's really it.
Yeah, I have nothing, so I like this. And then this is an ad for the Sheriff's Barbecue, which is next Tuesday. So, and I'm sure there's tickets available that the sheriff would bring you, anybody that wants to buy tickets.
Everybody needs to be there. That's only $500 a ticket.
Office pack of 20.
Okay, any commission comments? Bids and contracts.
She's got a cicada in here.
Oh, I do hear that.
There it is in the hallway, it just flew by.
I do hear that.
It's an emergency, you take care of it.
Here we go.
I thought somebody was playing.
My God, they're
I
everywhere.
did too, I thought something
It's-
about it.
To your left, Nick.
The top left window, under the battery on the blind, on the bottom.
Anybody want to come just to learn what's going on in Cole County, so, welcome.
Never had a meeting interrupted by a cicada.
It's bad. Okay, we're going to bids and contracts. Discussion and award of water expansion tanks for the law enforcement center.
She was where he was gonna come.
Yep.
Me also. Good morning.
Good morning.
Expansion tanks over at the law enforcement center have gone bad. The little rubber diaphragm in them have busted. Pipes are shaking, and we've already had one pipe break. Somebody gave us a bid of $97.24, I think, I don't have it in front of me, to replace both tanks that are over there, and hopefully we have no more breaking of pipes. I've spoken to Mr. Wheeler about this, and we put it on the agenda for
So
today.
these are the original tanks?
Regional tanks.
Okay,
One tank's got a 7-year lifetime warranty, or a warranty, and the other one's got a 3-year, so we got our money's worth out of them.
You just need approval. You got the contract, or I was trying to.
Just need approval.
Okay, yep.
Get it going.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yep. Okay,
It's a contract that we put out for plumbing, that we got no bids, and she said I could use whoever I wanted. And there, some is usually pretty, treats us fair, they're not gonna charge us for coming out and fixing the pipe that broke the other day.
So it says award, so who are we awarding it to, or what's,
Summit Mechanical.
do you have the contract?
It should be
or-
on, just gotta sign the bottom of the paper. Sorry, I didn't bring one off.
Is it on our documents page?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I'll pay that out of contingency, Dave.
No, that's United.
no, yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't bring a copy.
okay.
I was told we didn't have copies because you had it on your agenda.
Do you want to make a motion?
I'm still trying to find it.
Melody put it on there. said it's in a file or something.
It should be on our agenda attachments for May 28th, right? I've got one that's, says dynamic. It's not pulling up, but I don't know what that one is. You got a copy of it?
I can, all I've
Okay.
got's the agenda here. I don't have anything behind it.
Should have it here, man. Sorry.
I got the other ones coming up. We've got the brain injury program and stuff coming up. I don't know what the dynamic one is. Was that yours?
Shouldn't have been.
It's just saying file not found on it, so.
Have a 3-day weekend and nothing works, right?
Well, let's hope that this new little thingamajiggy here works better than our microphone.
It's not attached.
I gave it to Melody. All right, I will get you a copy. I think I put a copy on all your other desk too.
I don't think
Maybe I
so.
did.
Did you drop it off last week?
Yeah.
I know you'd stopped and talked about it. I
Yeah.
didn't bring that one in with me. And
I will get a copy of it.
Okay.
Okay, he's good. Look, then we'll keep moving on. We'll come back to this. Contract renewal for the Adult Brain Injury Program Service Coordination.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is part of their 3-year renewal, but they did increase the amount of the contract by $5,000, which is good because it's been probably, I don't know, 5 or 10 years since we've had an increase to this contract. And, you know, as the cost of everything goes up, mileage and things. So this is for our adult brain injury coordinator. And I think they also decreased her service area. I think she had 13 counties before. And with the new map that was in there, there's only 9. So that should also help with mileage. So I would ask you to approve the contract at this time. So instead of 66,800, it's 71,800.
Good.
Yes.
Is this renewal or a new one?
It is a renewal because
Okay.
it started in 22.
Okay. I was just making sure it was still
Yeah.
renewal, so I'll make a motion to sign the contract renewal for the Adult Brain Injury Program Service Coordination with the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services for $71,800.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll go back to discussion and award of water expansion tanks for law enforcement.
Yeah, I'm good. He showed it to me last week, so if you want it, did you
Make
see
a
it?
motion on this?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to award a contract with Summit Mechanical, Inc., amount of $9,724 for the water expansion tanks at the law enforcement center.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Approval of engineering services supplemental agreement for the Wildwood Drive Extension Project.
So I have Cody Darr with CNPS with me today, and he can answer some more technical questions if you have any. But I'll go through what we got here. So it's a supplement agreement to the original contract, which the original contract was the second contract, the new redesign or the reemergence of the Wildwood Drive project. And as we've gotten through the project, encountered a lot of things unexpected through the process. I'd say half of it due to the project sitting around for 15 years. And then other things just as the project developed and we got more involved in the developer, the property owner developing the piece of property on the northern section of the road, as well as other things related to that in the final build of the project and working with the city of Jefferson now that it's a corporate project. So the main items to point out is we had to do a hydraulic study of the Weirs Creek structure, bridge crossing structure, as the flood maps, the FEMA flood maps changed
Yeah.
since prior to now. And so that required additional work and actually is requiring a larger structure. And then we had to do a survey for the presence of endangered bats. And we can give you an update on that later. That did take some time and some additional expense in the hiring of a sub-consultant, as well as the hydraulic study did as well. Additional plan preparation needed. As we've gone through, the process up to now, there's been additional things encountered, which has taken up some time. So we need some additional funds to be able to finish out the project. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service permitting, things there, take some additional time and expense. Possible additional right-of-way that we might try to secure for the roundabout, additional design of, change roundabout plans, and then Greenway Trail plan preparation, and then also sanitary sewer plan design. Those last two items are mostly related to the development in which the city is working on right now. The first, back in '07, when we did the first design, this was all a county project. The last one, or the re-emerged contract that we are supplementing, that one was a county paid. This one, I visited with the city folks, and it's generally expected that this be included in the overall cost of the project. That will be a cooperative project and split 50-50. So that agreement is in the process of being worked out as far as final funding and everything for that. So anyway, the amount of this supplemental is $98,310, which would bring the total contract amount to $205,750. So I would ask approval of this supplemental agreement. And if you approve, and when that's done, maybe we can give a quick update on the project, where we stand right now. So, any questions?
I'll make a motion to sign the supplemental, excuse me, agreement number 1, Wildwood Extension Project number 2023-201-0, in the additional amount of $98,310.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yep. Okey dokey.
And if you'd like, we give a quick update on the project status. So, as I mentioned, the bat, we had to study the presence of endangered bats, and that's done, and they didn't find any on the list. So they're just moving forward with the final report, which that in turn gets turned into U.S. Fish and Wildlife and Corps of Engineers.
And Department of Conservation.
Conservation, yeah. So when all that's wrapped up, then we apply for the nationwide permit, or it'd actually be an individual permit, probably with.
Well, now that they didn't find it, they'll be able to go through their programmatic agreement with Fish and Wildlife, so it will be nationwide, I think,
Okay.
now. But they couldn't process it until they had this part of the report for the bats.
So now that's done, then that's behind us. We can move forward with final design, more or less. You can't really get too far into final design until you get all this squared away. So
Yeah.
Cody, we were talking the other day. Right now, we're looking at advertising for bids, probably late August.
Yeah.
As if things kind of pull together. I know the city's working on the development agreement with the property, the northernmost property in the project limits, and before we bid this, we'll need to have that, signed and approved, but that's between the city and the developer, and I know they're working hard on that, and they're gonna be meeting next week on that, so everything appears to be finally pulling into place. We had the Greenway Trail, we applied for a TAP grant for that, probably aren't gonna get that, and so we'll have to scale that back a little bit. That'll be part of the city's agreement with the developer, and we'll work whatever we decide. We may have to build it in, phases, half of it now, maybe half later on, so we'll just see how it all comes together at the end. And hopefully we're tracking to where bids will come in pretty reasonable. We think we'll probably estimate a little conservatively, we want to make sure we got enough funds there, but hopefully we'll get some good bids and it'll be a good project.
Eric, you might mention, this is a co-op project with the city, so whenever we have co-op projects with the city, one, either city or county, sort of takes the lead and just runs with the ball, and at the end of the day, settle up. And there's been others ones where the city has been the lead where we settle up, so that's what's gonna happen here, right?
Yeah, We got several ongoing right now. The cart project is still, it's not finalized yet.
And that's one that, a co-op, but the county is the lead.
We led on that one.
Right.
And then we're leading on Wildwood, the city's leading on the High Street Viaduct Bridge, they've applied for a grant to do that, and then also the Monroe Street, fixing that bluff area there between the expressway and Dunklin, so. Yeah, typically the city leads, just, you know, this current cycle, we've had more projects that the county's been in charge of, so, but typically the city leads on it. And whatever, we just settle up on the funding, however it works out and agrees to, we'll do the cooperative agreement.
Got it.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And I want you to know, last week when we were going east, we went through Indiana and then coming back, I was gonna bring you back an Indiana bat. I couldn't find any signal. No, there were some hawks, but it's not the same thing, so anyway.
All right, well.
Next
thank you.
time we go, I'll look for an Indiana bat.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, approval and signing of indirect cost study contract.
This is a contract with Maximus US Services for our indirect cost study. We do this every other year. This will be done in 2025, but for the 2024 fiscal year, and it's $6,500. And today we're just asking for signature on the contract.
Good. Okay. Motion to sign the indirect services contract with Maximus US Services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, do we have any unfinished business?
I was just gonna bring up this weekend, you know, we had some storms come through. Public Works actually came out and assisted, not only for of course, for first responders to be able to react, but they also opened it up for family members and friends to be able to check on their loved ones, to be able to move people around. So anyway, just thanks for your staff this weekend.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay. New business, accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
Motion to approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Signing of surplus titles.
So we're doing a little switcheroo with some titles from the EMS department to the public administrator, which frees up a vehicle from the public administrator to then get sold. So that's one. This title was actually signed a while back when the sheriff was getting rid of it the first time, so we're still good on that. There is a second title here that needs to be signed. It's the vehicle from Public Works, it's the International dump truck. So I'd ask if you would sign this one. That was involved in the accident.
Okay. Yes.
Motion to sign the vehicle surplus title on the 2021 International dump truck.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Cole County Juvenile Center Project.
I'd expected Chris Neff to be here, but I don't see him. So what I believe came in an email was a contract to add a food consultant, a food service consultant component to the design contract. It looks like it's $10,609.
Toby, one of the tricky things about the kitchen facility and is how we will serve the meals. We've toured other places that do it different ways, and some partner real closely with the school, some don't. So we need some expert help in this area, is that right?
And so some of them have the food delivered directly from the school. We are reimbursed by the school for a number of meals. per two per day, and then some snacks, but we make all of them on site. The detention standards require it be a home type setting, so we make them on site. What this is gonna do is give us the options of what that design could look like for our kitchen.
So are they needing that to get us a, I guess, a price on the whole project then? Or is there gonna be a big difference between the two?
So we still don't have a price on the whole project. We need the food service piece, and then I believe we need to decide whether we're gonna go with a construction manager at risk or a general contractor. I think those are the two pieces. He did indicate that the design team was meeting last week to weed through some coordination, and that he would be back in touch to set up then probably a final meeting where we could hopefully have a number.
I don't know, I just thought there would be some way they could get an idea of what a food service idea would be, to just kind of put a placeholder in there without spending that on it. And then I'm not sure if we should get a price that we're gonna, total amount that we're gonna spend and work backwards from that, or if we're just trying to get this all together to come up with that price tag, because I think the last time we were around 10 million, thereabouts.
I think we're in the tens, let's say it, we've passed the 9 million mark, probably, in all probability. This would allow the design team to really kind of lay out the kitchen, how commercially equipped it needs to be as residentially equipped. The commercial equipment is more expensive, but it may be deemed necessary as opposed to a residential refrigerator. You get a commercial refrigerator as opposed to a residential or regular kitchen stove. You get a commercial stove, and that dictates, excuse me, how much space, the layout, and everything else. So I think this is a good move to get an expert to tell us, based upon the population that's going to be served there. And it may, as you know, we have a excuse me, expansion built in, at least on the detention side.
Yes,
So we have to be flexible there too.
yes.
I think we need to do it right the first time, so we don't have to come back a little later and go, oh, so.
I'd make a motion to sign the document to engage for the commercial, get it right here, the kitchen portion of the project for the price of $10,609, food service consulting.
I will second. Any other discussion?
So in the original proposal from Architects Alliance, they did have some food service consulting in their bid, and this is within what they had priced to us, I think.
That's correct. They had
So-
said, I think 15,000, and this is under that.
Okay. I mean, it was in their proposal.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to figure out, can we not just put a placeholder in, let's say it's gonna be the biggest,
Well, we
Yeah,
could go
definitely.
back to that number and say not to exceed that number.
I'm not so worried about that number as far as drawing up the kitchen, because didn't we, in the jail, law enforcement center, we put a full service jail in there to where we could either, if we wanted to do the food prep ourselves, we can, or we can have it served from outside.
Correct, and we
So-
did the same thing, because we have to meet the criteria, and I'm sure juvenile does too, on detention standards and the food content and all that is a whole lot different from us. But I'm sure that's part of what they're gonna be talking about.
Yeah, and
what
that's
this
why I didn't know if
consultant-
they actually had to engage a food service consultant at this point, or could they just say, this give us a real good idea on what a kitchen would be at the top of the scale. So that's a nickel and diming it right now, but this thing has grown and grown and grown from the $6 million project we started with, so, okay. You can go ahead and call it.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I believe that they are still needing feedback on whether we want to use a construction manager at risk versus a general contractor, and I don't know if that needs to be.
Well, let's get this vote out of the way, and then we'll go to that. Is that
All in
right?
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Now, the issue, and I have visited a little bit with each of the commissioners to the extent I could about a construction manager. The architects tell us that this job is of such a size that it would be.
And it's unique in its requirements. So I believe that their recommendation is the construction manager at risk, because it will give the general contractor is going to provide a lower cost, but then there would be some concern that they would be over budget, and because of the unique properties of the juvenile office, they had recommended the construction manager at risk. They thought that we would get a bigger pool of people bidding with a construction manager.
What I recall from the meeting we had at Architects Alliance is the risk of not going with the construction manager is you may not get enough bids, or may not get a bid for a portion of the contract. The construction manager is out there circulating through the construction community and advising about what's coming up and working with them so that when it comes time to sit down and go over numbers with different contractors, there'll be somebody at the table, and we won't run the risk of having a bid opening and nobody showing up. And I'm not sure what the threshold always is for this, or maybe it's fluctuating, but given the demands of the construction companies and subcontractors today, I was inclined to go with the construction manager approach.
That, and I believe with our hard deadline, probably that's the better route.
I'm still on the fence on that one, so.
There are pros and cons.
Yeah,
That's
so-
for sure.
When we did the law enforcement center, that was a CM.
No. I don't believe it was it?
Yeah, I believe it was.
But was it a CMAR? I mean, because, there's a difference between the two of them, where they're taking the risk on the pricing, they bring us a price, or construction manager comes in there.
I mean, the construction manager set all the meetings up with the vendor. We had 28 different projects within that $28 million building. And then they got the contractors, they got the bidders to bid on the projects. You guys went through and approved those.
And we had ultimately decide which one, from the color of the carpet to the paint on the walls of the jail cells or whatever, so.
As far as them taking financial responsibility, I don't believe so. But it's a new word now, this construction manager at risk. They didn't used to use that one, so,
Okay, so they did the same thing, then they decided that,
as far as I know.
the at risk.
That was before Harry and myself, so you're the expert. You're the expert.
My memory's as good as yours, is the same on that, that's been a little while back. And-
There is an email from Chris Neff on 5/21 that really lays out the difference between the two, the construction manager at risk and the general contractor, and both delivery methods.
Yeah, I went through his email several times and I was going back and forth on it, and still on the fence on which way. Like I said, I wasn't leaning either which way at this point. I think if you go up to CM, that gives you a lot more choices.
At the bottom, and then on the next page.
But then it also gives you that many more choices, a lot more decisions you gotta make, rather than leaving it in the hands of the GC saying, you pick who you wanna work with, who you've had good success with, and you're gonna hold their feet to the fire. So, there's Do we have to decide that today then? Is that something we have to decide, because that's going to affect the cost of the project, or can they do it? I mean, some kind of preliminary drawing and say, you know, this is what it's gonna cost per square foot for this and that, and then here's your FF&E, and on down a lot of stuff down the line on what we're gonna have in it.
I believe that they were pushing for that decision to be made so that they knew, could get a more accurate cost. It looked like the GC was gonna be less costly. So I believe they were pushing so that they can get us a package put together so that you all have an idea of what it's gonna cost.
Yeah, I think his thing about that being is that the bids would be over budget on bid day, so then estimated higher. You know, if you're gonna do a GC, then if you're expecting there to be a 10% increase or something in there, then I don't know why we can't get an idea on what it's gonna be a cost with either one of them. And I'd still kinda like to know what our dollar amount is. Tove and I, we briefly talked about it earlier too. If this is gonna be that much and it keeps going that high, we could look at doing some other options, possibly doing just a detention center over there and leaving residential at the existing site, different options to keep it within that $6 million that we put from the ARPA money in it. I mean, it's a one-time cost for the building itself, but like we're running to with the law enforcement center here, you know, 13 years later, we got a lot more costs to fix things. We're out of maintenance, the other employees to run it, so.
Well, we knew from the start it was gonna be more than $6 million. That
No,
was
we
just-
didn't. No, I'd say we put 6 million in there and then it grew.
Yeah,
I think it was 6.5 to start with.
6.5, okay.
But I never suspected that we could pay for the entire project with ARPA money and we wouldn't have to use some of our own money.
Yeah.
I never expected that. So I think if we move the ball a little bit here and decide on the construction manager approach, it gets us closer to a number that you're looking for. If we just say, well, figure it both ways, I think the numbers get too fuzzy because on the construction, the non-manager approach, on that approach, we're at risk that some of these, there won't be any subs showing up when it comes time to open the bids. And I've been sold, at least lobbied enough to know, or not to know, but to feel that we do need to go with the construction manager approach. They've told us at the Architects Alliance that this is a project of enough size to go that way. Of course, the law enforcement center was, as you say, 28 million. Obviously, it was good enough, big enough to go that way. This might be the only other one we see in the foreseeable future, although that can change too. Apparently, you know, the environment changes with respect to, there's a lot of ARPA dollars that have to be spent, encumbered and then spent in the next, encumbered by the end of this year, spent by the end of '26. That allows, or maybe causes shortages with respect to bidders because they're working on other ARPA projects. So we have to move this one forward.
Moving it forward means they're just gonna tell them to bid it with the CM. It's not costing anything necessarily at this point. It's just gonna help get the cost.
I think we have a construction manager in the chair who is getting the numbers, getting the ideas, getting the details, and then comes back and says, it's X. And we say X is too much. We have to go X minus something. And what do you cut back on? Do you cut back on the atrium that sits in the center of this proposal? Do you cut back on the large muscle exercise area, which is the half court with an outdoor giant garage door? Do you cut back on some of the parking? You know, or not? I'm just throwing things out there, but we have to see what we can afford at the end of the day. I'll go ahead and make the motion that we pursue the construction manager at risk approach for the juvenile facility.
And I'll second it because we are doing this to move ahead on the bid. At some point, I'd just like to have a number that we're not gonna exceed when we start this project. And then at some point, do we have to pump the brakes and step back and start reducing the size of the project?
Okay,
So I
that's
don't know if
fair.
y'all have, I'm not gonna ask you for your magic number today, but I think we need to have one. I really do. And I know y'all know my number's a lot lower, but let's have something to work backwards from. So, and it really gives Toby a little more to work with too. Because when she calls and talks to me and then she talks to y'all, I'm telling her she can't have chairs at the desk, everybody's gonna have to stand, we're trying to cut costs and stuff. But, no, we're working with different budgets at this point, so. Okay.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thanks, Toby.
approval from EMA to apply for the EMPG grant.
What does that stand for?
Good morning.
Sorry.
Well, all I know is there's
I love
95
that.
pages, but I don't have to
The
initially.
first test, you were gone for a week, so.
I know, that was,
Our meeting went by really fast last week without you.
The Emergency Management Performance Grant has come up again,
There you
and
go.
that's our annual grant that I used to be able to say would sustain a majority of EMA activities, and now it covers budget for salary and some of our benefits, but not all of our benefits. As you can see through the application, I've applied for both our salary and benefits for 2024, the end of 2024 into the beginning of 2025. The grant cycle goes from August to June, I believe that's the state cycle. And so today, I would just ask that in your reviewing this, that you approve the ability for me to apply for this grant so we can hopefully get some of this grant funding.
Did anything really change from the previous year? I don't remember if you said that in your email or not. I saw it about the first couple pages were the signature pages and the next 100 pages were.
We're all attachments,
95
right?
pages.
And that's why I was saying, just pay attention to the first 9 pages. Yes, there's obviously I have to put in some sort of increase, so I selected 4%. We're not bound by that by any means. In fact, the state didn't even give us the percentage increase that we asked for last year. And then, of course, our benefits package, it still sits at 40%, but because of the increase, that changes as well. So those are the 2 changes I made to it. And, of course, I added nothing in on any of the other budgetary items because they will not. They told us that's a hard stop, so they will not cover that. So I didn't even waste their time by adding it because later on I would have to amend it out.
And it's half of your budget, and then half of the other half comes from us, and half of the other half comes from the city.
Correct.
So this is the big one. So where would any of that money come from for the morgue or the mortuary? Is that a separate thing that you're trying to
Yeah, that's a
find money?
separate project we're working on to try to see if we can get that freezer unit funded.
Okay, and I've got some concerns about that too. If they're gonna pay for it, we can deal with it then, but I think it's gonna be something that's besides just having it cooled. I think there's some things that were brought up to me that I didn't think about, gas emissions and stuff like that from bodies. It's not fun stuff to talk about at all, but we need to think about that before we go too much farther with it. But I was wondering if that would be in this operation grant or not.
No, this only covers budgetary and then, or I'm sorry, salary and your benefits.
Okay. Alrighty. That's all I got, I think. You good?
I'm good.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the EMA application for the EMPG grant.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. data technology storage in the prosecuting attorney's office.
Good morning.
Morning.
A lot couldn't be here this morning. He had some type of urgent matter come up, so he's asked me to sit in on this request. But currently, the prosecuting attorney offices, they use a product called Carpel, and that's their main line of business application for what they do. They also currently utilize the storage platform of the county. What we've been finding is that they've had a huge effort in digitizing their old cases and new cases. And what that's done is created a storage challenge for our new platform, because they have basically pretty close to a full-time person scanning day in and day out. So what we came up with was, originally we were going to do add storage to our hardware platform, and that was going to cost $7,938 and some change. After speaking with Locke, it turns out Carpel actually offers an add-on module for $100 per user per year, and they have 26 users, so it'd be a $2,600 increase over what they're currently spending, which is $2,600. So that to me makes much more sense to leverage what they already have and just spend that, and then we don't have the upkeep as well, because we all know that when we add hardware, that it doesn't stop with the initial expense. It's the maintenance and upkeep that goes along with it as well. Something too is that with Carpel, they're currently spending about $6,400 annually on removable or media, like USB drives and things like that. That would negate that, because they could then use their file sharing platform. So when it comes to the add-on licenses for the Carpel product, to me it just financially makes sense, and from a efficiency of staff it makes sense as well. So that part of it is going to be a $2,600 a year add-on for a total of $5,200 annually for both products. And that is the Carpel side. Also, the prosecuting attorney's office, well, let me back up. The other thing that gives you is they're going to give them 13 terabytes of storage, which is way inexpensive compared to if we went to purchase it and try to maintain it and things like that. So anyway, to me that makes a lot of sense to be able to do that. They can also share files securely to like different entities like the public defender's office or the city to work on cases and things like that. So, and like I said, that would eliminate the need for the expense of all the USB drives they use to currently accomplish that. The second ask would be that they currently leverage Microsoft Outlook through prosecutorsmo.gov, and they spend $100 a year, well, it's $99 a year a user for that, and again, they have 26 users. They actually, but that only allows them email. What they would like to do is with the Office 365 platform, that allows a much more collaborative approach to how they're working as a team. And this is something that EMS currently leverages, and different entities. I think Public Works has some of those licenses. So anyway, through prosecutorsmo.gov, they would like to add that added functionality through Office 365. That would be for a total per user of $239.29. So that's $140 per user add-on per year. So anyway, I would like to go ahead and add, and that comes with 1 terabyte of storage space as well. So I would like to go ahead and ask that both of those things be approved today, so I can go ahead and get those license add-ons. And I'd welcome any questions that you have.
Forgot to ask you all.
Except for yours, sir.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Everybody except for Jeff. Carpel's cloud-based then?
It is.
Too?
Yes.
So, one of the things we were talking about too long ago is we have this stuff is almost always being scanned now. And if you go over to Emergency Services Building, I don't know if y'all been where all the files used to be, but it's cleaned up immensely now. So it's really nice to have that area and not have them sitting around. With this being cloud-based too, it's not like a tornado coming through is gonna take that information and
Correct.
spread it across the county.
Yeah, we encourage all departments to try to figure out how to digitize those hard copy files, so.
What about the finance? I'm sorry, Debbie.
We did get that.
I know, you know where everything's at though, I know that.
But,
It's there.
if you
But to
found
me-
it in the cloud.
yeah, but to me financially, this is, and from a work standpoint, it just makes good sense to do it this way, so. I would ask, that would be my ask, is that I just go ahead and get approved for the funds, so I can go ahead and get these licenses added and move forward.
I'm good with it. I grew up
I am
around earlier
too,
and you
yeah.
got the interest.
One of the hidden savings, I guess, is, when they have to dig a file, take a file apart and send it over to the prosecuting attorney or maybe the opposing attorney.
Right.
The defense attorney, gosh, that's gotta be work if we can just get it linked.
Yes, yeah, the time savings aspect of it is huge as well. And we really didn't factor that into it, but it definitely is a big money saver
Okay.
from staff resources and everything, so.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
So, how should the
I would just,
motion read?
ask that the add-on licenses for Carpel, and for Microsoft Office 365 be approved. The Carpel license, will be $5,200 annually, and that includes, the add-on and their current users, and then the Microsoft licenses for Office 365 will be $239.29 per user per year.
Give me that last amount again, 230
$239.29, yeah, $239.29.
per user.
Yes, sir, per year.
I'll make a motion to authorize the two requests. One is the Carpel for $5,200 a year. The other one is the MS 365, Microsoft 365 for $239.29 per user.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. I would breeze through that. Do we have anything else? You want to give an update on our station or not?
I don't really have any, I sent you the last update. we-
Okay.
so.
We're good, okay. Anything else to come before us?
Motion to stand adjourned, or in recess, I'm sorry. Recess at 4:30 p.m.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
He left.
Yeah.
I talked to him though.
Okay. He did. He said